Hello, my sweet summer children. I'm back with the juice to get you through the long night. And baby, American Horror Story Season 10, Episode 4. I have a breakdown, some analysis, some theories, some hidden clues, some Easter eggs. You know how I do. Let's just talk about it, baby. So Episode 4 was a flashback into the distribution of the Muse pill. This episode showed us the chemist coming to town, setting up her basement lab on some Breaking Bad type shit, but it also showed us how Belle Noire, Austin, aka patio furniture, bitch, patio furniture, and even the first pale one was created. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down episode 4, but I have a lot to talk about when it comes to the 3 previous episodes and other seasons of American Horror Story. The devil is in the details. One thing I noticed from this episode is that the red light, the red porch lights that we see in the first episode, they don't appear. Even though it's night and we have shots of outside, there are no red lights, which makes me believe that these red lights were implemented maybe after the Muse pill came to town, which caused me to wonder what these red lights actually mean. This sent me down an Alice in Wonderland sized rabbit hole, like seriously. Because I started to notice that red is a prominent color that seems to appear everywhere in the show. For example, the red lights, the red votives, the red violin case. So biblically, red evokes the color of blood. In mythology, red is associated with blood and also war and warriors and the warrior god Mars. Red has also been used in different ways cinematically. In one of my favorite horror movies of all time, The Sixth Sense, if red was visible, it was a hint that something supernatural was about to happen. So if we take the red symbolism in American Horror Story and apply it like The Sixth Sense did, we could say that when red appears, it means someone is going to be a vampire or is one. So let's indulge this idea for a second. Alma has the red violin in a lot of scenes. We know that she turns into a vampire. The red lights turn on as Finn Whiterock is walking to the store, which is possibly an early clue that he would turn. The Muse bar is filled with red votives and light, like the spotlight on Belle and Austin is red. We know that Austin and Belle Noire were both found in the bar. Belle Noire has a red light at her house. Lark has red walls in her shop, red neon lights. Mickey has red candles burning in his shack. So maybe Ryan Murphy took a page from M. Night Shyamalan's Sixth Sense, and these red objects are foreshadowing to whom will be the bloodsuckers, which would mean that TB Karen is definitely going to take the Muse pill and become a bloodsucker, because watch this scene in episode 1. The light in the scene with her is white, then it turns red. Also, in her painting that Mickey shows her, she painted a red house. You know who is never seen in any colors other than dark, pale, and grage? Doris. Maybe the red isn't that deep though. And it's some kind of symbolism regarding biblical things, because people love to reference that kind of shit in shows to show depth or whatever. So maybe the red lights on the doors is like when God told Moses to have like the Israelite family smear blood of lambs over their door so the angel of death would pass over their houses. This kind of makes sense in regards to the pale ones, because the pale ones stalk the home of Doris, Alma, and Harry. And lo and behold, they have no red light outside. Also, in the episode where the chemist explained the Muse pill and how it functions, basically they are fiddling with the occipital lobe of the brain. So if your occipital lobe is damaged, you may suffer like blindness, blind spots, you may have some vision impairments or distortions. But colors, bright colors like red, orange, and yellow, green too, like I think scientifically green is the easiest color to see. 'Tis why traffic lights are green, red, and yellow. But anyway, maybe it has something to do with that. Like maybe it has something to do with that, because when we encounter the first pale one, he seems to smell Doris and Alma rather than just see them. Like he seems to smell them. So maybe their occipital lobe being tampered with is why the townies use the red light to like ward them off, because maybe the red lights help with their visual perception or some other weird shit. But maybe it's just contrasty, moody aesthetic and nothing more. What do you guys think? But let's talk about the chemist, because she is the real Slim Shady. The chemist moves to Provincetown, sets up her lab, and here's what we know. Or what she said, at least. Just because she said it doesn't mean it's true. But let's talk about it anyway, bestie. So she's a biochemical engineer. She's been working with the US government for 9 years to make like less creative soldiers, basically like some iRobot type shit that like just follows orders. To lock up the creative mind, they need to understand how to unlock it. So she created a drug that targets the occipital lobe of the brain to make the neurons fire 50 to 1,000 times greater than they normally would. But what are the facts surrounding these pills? We know the pills deplete 4 major minerals in the blood: sodium, potassium, calcium, and magnesium. You know what else depletes minerals in the blood? A disease. Lyme disease, which was brought up how many times in the first episode? So let me get technical for a second. In patients that were confirmed positive with Lyme disease, there was a depletion of magnesium and calcium. These patients could also present with hyponatremia, which is low serum sodium levels. So that is 3 out of 4 depletions that occur in the Muse pill that also occur in people infected with Lyme disease. So I'm willing to bet that one of the ingredients of the Muse pill is likely the bacteria that causes Lyme disease. Also, there is a parallel because ticks suck blood. So the bacteria that causes Lyme in studies has been shown to be similar to the bacteria that causes syphilis. Lyme disease, however, is not sexually transmitted. It's just that both of these diseases or bacteria affect the central nervous system. So what the hell, right? So if you watched Arah's video, and it's linked below if you didn't, the vampirism origin story in AHS timeline comes from Hotel. And it's an ancient blood virus. So the difference between bacteria and viruses is that bacteria are living cells that can survive on their own outside of a host. Viruses need a host to survive. They're both germs, they both invade and multiply, but they're very different in structure and function. This season, part 1, is called Red Tide. Carina brevis, like bacteria, is a single organism. It's a toxin. It's an algae bloom that causes the red tide. So chew on that shit. So I don't know if this ancient bloodborne virus is the same. I think they may be riffing off of that and actually using bacteria instead. But I do think it's connected. So we have this lady, the chemist, who says she's been working with the government on this magic pill, right? If we believe her. So Angelica Ross, this is her second time appearing in AHS. She plays the chemist. So she made her debut in AHS playing Donna Chambers in AHS 1984. Now we know Donna Chambers was not who she said she was. She was kind of running her own experiment at Camp Redwood. She wanted to study killers in their natural habitat, so she posed as a camp nurse when really she was a psychologist. What if something similar is going on here? What if she's actually hiding from the government, the military? What if she's doing her own experiments?
I just left my job at a lab in Providence.
What are you, a chemist?
It was an ugly divorce.
The government infecting people with diseases and trying to perfect mind control and all of those things is clearly fucking possible. Clearly, like, low-key, very high-key, actually possible. But government experiments, though, they're usually private, like in controlled environments like Area 61 and shit. Like controlled in a laboratory or a medical center, like under guard, billions of dollars being spent. That information is top secret and you need top secret security clearances. So this chemist like divulging like all of this information to Mickey, like giving him like a whole info dump, it just doesn't sit right with me. Like it just doesn't. Also, like, she's documenting their experience, like their side effects and their reactions, but she isn't doing any brain scans, any blood work, or even any vital signs. Like, she said that she doesn't even have a recipe to this shit, like, written down. Like, fuck out of here. If the government was behind this study, then it shouldn't be so raggedy. Like, it's raggedy as fuck. Like, this is some makeshift ass shit. Like, you got meth heads, and, like, you're just randomly experimenting on some town, and you're not really doing any kind of labs or anything. Like, could you imagine the government running a study like this out of a basement in a town of, like, 2,000 people? Nah, like, I'm sorry, like, this is some janky ass study for real, bestie. Like, I don't think she is who she says she is. Maybe she's like a former employee, like a disgruntled employee. Maybe she was like involved in some kind of similar study in the desert and she found out how to make the shit on her own and she just dipped. But there is no way the government is sanctioning some wild, wild west shit like this. Like, I just find it really unbelievable that the government would just let her run rampant in some town, like giving random people pills and not even just giving them pills, but like telling them, yes, this is a government experiment, and like, look now, like all these people have pills. Like, it's just out of control, and I feel like the government would never allow that to happen. Now, one thing that was interesting that the chemist had said when she was talking to Belle and Austin was that yes, they could reverse engineer the medication, but only to a certain extent. Like, they could find out the ingredients, but not how she makes it. So what are some of the things that stand out? Well, but she just like uses a beaker system to turn like a red liquid into a black liquid. That black liquid is then transferred into another beaker, which then the liquid turns to a powder form and is compressed into pills. So again, like, I feel like she's full of shit because it isn't at all like the process. The how isn't what's important. It is the what is in the pill. Unless the process has to do with how she made this red liquid to start with, because I'm not no fucking chemist, but I took chemistry in college and she literally heated up a substance to make another substance and then use a plating agent to make it powder and compress it into pills. Like, no, bitch. It's not the how. It's the what. It's the what. And I indeed think it is aliens. So my theory is that the chemist either was or is related to someone who used to work for the government. I feel at one time this was a government experiment, but it was likely stopped, and the chemist has gone rogue to do her own research. In the part 2 of Double Feature, we have like Alien Flo, like from Progressive, negotiating with the president. And we know that Kit Walker alien storyline has to connect somehow. Maybe she's a relative. So the alien Flo lady says they want to create something half alien, half human. But why? Like, this whole scenario had me thinking of another character in American Horror Story, Asylum. The chemist reminds me of Dr. Arthur Arden. Like, honestly, Dr. Arden wanted to create like immortality, immunity to everything, but all he kept making were like creatures, like zombies and shit, like torturing people, mutilating people, and much worse. Like, he's a fucking Nazi scientist and like all that shit. But the point is, he wasn't good, and I don't feel like the chemist is good either. The most obvious reason that the chemist isn't a good person is because of the backstory of the first pale one. This was a regular guy with dreams and aspirations, a human being with a family. He was a Buddhist. He wanted to use his singing to help people. He was a vegan that couldn't even eat Beyond Burgers. And she treats him like an absolute scum on her shoes because he does not have talent. But we don't even know if that's the case. We don't even know if he doesn't have talent. She's not even conducting proper research here. Like, where are the lab reports? Where's the radiology? Like, bitch, what are you doing? So here's how I think it's going to play out. The chemist has told Austin and Belle to kill Alma, Harry, and Doris, and have Mickey kill the agent. Mickey has failed to kill the agent. I think Alma, Harry, and Doris will team up with Mickey and TB Karen, and there will be a face-off between them and the chemist, Belle and Austin. The thing is, TB Karen fucking hates Belle and Austin, and likely the chemist. She has so much anger towards them. Like, she's angry already.
Motherfuckers! I buy the supermarket and then I boot right to the ground. Asshole, motherfucking fuck faces!
But if she takes that Muse pill, it will make her even more aggressive. And baby, she's gonna be out there on some Klaus Michelson type shit. Bitch, I swear, I'm here for it. I also think, though, that the mom, Doris, is gonna take the pill and turn into a pale one. People were saying this could actually be Doris. So I think the pale ones will also team up with Mickey, the agent, Harry, Alma, and TB Karen. Doris will want to protect her family, Abby, but the pale ones have every reason to resent and hate the chemist, Belle Noire, and Austin. It's likely either Belle Noire or Austin, one of them, took them to the chemist to start with. And the chemist knew that 9 of 10 people wouldn't make the cut. Like when she turned Belle Noire, she seemed to like take precautions. She read her book and she knew that she was talented. Did she do that for the others, or did she not give a fuck about them? Her reactions with the first pale one led me to believe she's evil and gives zero fucks about anybody. That's a human being she was talking to like that. Now, another reason I think the vampires are linked to the aliens is because of AHS Hotel. If you have not seen Arah, I Eat Zebra's theory video on the chemist, on who the chemist is, and the links to AHS Hotel, then please go watch it for the second time. Because the story about vampirism, or the ancient blood virus, Arah had sent me this clip. And I noticed a very significant shadow of an alien hand in this clip. Do you see the alien hand? Am I bugging? Do you see it? Well, I'm not going to keep running on because y'all know me. I'm a Gemini. I could talk forever. But anyway, what are your feelings and theories for American Horror Story Season 10 double features so far? Don't forget to tune into the live after show with I Eat Zebra on Wednesday at 11:30 p.m. As always, thanks for watching. Thanks to everyone that supports me on Patreon. Okay, my sweet summer children. Have a good day.